of the University of Cincinnati. He is the chair of the Commissioner Search Committee, which of course identified our new commissioner, Mike Aresco. Dr. Williams.
Thank you, John. As John indicated, I'm Greg Williams, president of the University of Cincinnati, and I'm thrilled to present Mike Aresco as the next commissioner of the Big East. As the president of Big East University and as indicated as chair of the search committee, I can say that I truly am ecstatic that we have someone with Mike's credentials representing our conference. We're fortunate to have someone with his depth of experience, his impeccable reputation, and stature advocating for the Big East. This is another win in an already great year for the Big East. The search committee found Mike to have the right mix of sports savvy, charisma, and a true desire to accept this challenge. As we all know, he is regarded as one of the top television executives in the country, and we're absolutely fortunate to have lured him away from CBS. Please join me in welcoming the next commissioner of the Big East, Mike Aresco.
Going blind in the service of the Big East. I first want to thank President Greg Williams and the Big East Executive Committee for their confidence in me. Dr. Williams and his colleagues have led the successful effort to expand and reinvent the Big East Conference, which is now bigger and better than ever. I welcome the extraordinary opportunity to lead it into a future that is very bright. This is a great conference with a proud history and tradition. We need to tell its story, and we will. The reconstituted Big East has vast potential. Expansion in the past has meant reinvention, and that process has always made this conference stronger. The Big East has added schools with some of the best athletic and academic programs in the entire country to its storied core group of institutions. It's now a national conference comprised of a series of outstanding universities. Yes, the Big East will be different in the future, but I'm entirely confident that it will be better. I would not have taken this position if I did not believe that. I would not have left the remarkable sports division of CBS were this not the case. And I want to thank Sean McManus and Leslie Moonves for their support over many years at CBS. CBS is two of the best executives in the history of television. Sean rebuilt the CBS sports division and led it into what has been a golden age. And Leslie, as a visionary CEO, has given his full support to the CBS sports division. I also want to thank Joe Bailey for his outstanding work in stabilizing the conference. I look forward to working with this terrific group of presidents led by Dr. Williams, athletic directors, senior women administrators, coaches, and the Big East staff in the coming years. It's a privilege to guide this conference, for which I have a deep affinity, and I will devote all my energies to ensuring a strong and prosperous future for the Big East Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And we're going to have a Q&A right now. Chuck Sullivan has a microphone, so if you want to raise your hand for a question, and please identify yourself and your affiliate, because we are streaming live on bigeast.org, so we would appreciate that. Let's go to the first question in front, Joe.
Yes, Mike. Joe Chiata from WJR in Providence. The first question I have is, do you have plans to move the Big East to New York City?
No, there are no plans to do that. There's been a strategic study undertaken by the Big East to determine how its operation should be conducted in the future, and things are being considered, but there's been no decision regarding that.
Other questions? In the middle, Keith.
Keith Pompey with the Philadelphia Inquirer. You stated that you had confidence in the Big East. What makes you so confident that the Big East will be a vibrant conference?
I'm confident because the Big East has great institutions, and I think one thing that the irony is that I think people may not have fully noticed when the Big East did reconstitute itself and add teams, that they have added some superb institutions both in football and basketball. Now, the conference now has a national reach. I think the conference will be stronger than ever before. I firmly believe that. I don't think there's any question that in football, the addition of Boise and San Diego State and Houston, you can't argue with their success this past year. SMU with June Jones, and Central Florida with the rich potential recruiting area of Florida. joining with these core institutions like South Florida and Louisville and Cincinnati and many others that I'm obviously not mentioning will mean a great deal. Also, I think the Big East has valuable product. The Big East is a proven ratings winner. The Big East has a terrific brand, and I don't believe college sports have ever been more valuable than they are now. They are driving media deals, and I think the Big East stands poised to do extremely well. I'm very, very, very confident that the Big East has a very, very bright future.
In front, Len.
Len Robbins, New York Post. Mike, you kind of professionally grew up with the Big East as the Big East was evolving. What was your just gut reaction over the past 6 months when you heard people refer to it as the sixth conference? And 5 years from now, what do you think they'll be saying?
Yeah, Len, I did grow up with this conference, and therefore I'm acutely aware of the proud tradition and history of this conference and the strength of this conference. And, the fact that it has always been, Northeast-centric has meant a great deal because obviously these are the media centers of the country. Now it's a national conference. I'm not concerned about what people might say. It really doesn't, I'm not daunted at all. I think, in fact, again, we have to tell the story. We have to talk about the Big East strengths. They're there, and they're quite significant and substantial. So no, having grown up with the conference, I also, as I mentioned in my brief introductory remarks, I believe this conference has always had the ability to reinvent itself and become stronger. It's had to do that a few times, and it's going to do this time, and I'm proud and pleased that the presidents have the confidence in me to do it. I will devote all my energies to doing it.
Other questions? In the middle, Brendan.
Brendan Prunty from the Star-Ledger. Mike, just curious when you started to think you emerged as the top choice for the conference during this whole process.
Oh, I don't know, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm just glad I ended up having this opportunity, and I thank the search committee, and they again, I'm pleased that it worked out, but I don't want to get into any of the details of that.
Right in here in the middle. Okay.
Alex Silverman with Newsday. Obviously, it's been a dynamic landscape in college sports with realignment, and how do you approach that with both protecting the teams you have in your conference and maybe looking at other options?
I think you approach realignment with the idea that you strengthen your conference. You make it a place people want to be. You make it a place where people who left would rather have been back there. I think you make sure that there's a consensus among the schools. We have a large group now of schools from different parts of the country, but they all share a common vision and goal. And I think the key to realignment is making sure you have a strong conference, that there is good communication. And I think things have obviously settled down. And I look forward to, again, working in the next several months to assure the Big East not only their financial future, but the cooperation of all the institutions.
Any other questions? Okay, one more. Alex?
How do you approach the television negotiations with ESPN?
Well, first of all, I don't want to get into, obviously, any details of that. But first of all, the Big East has chosen an outstanding consultant in Chris Bevilacqua. He's done a great job. He's delivered. He's at the top of his game. He's innovative. And I've worked with him for many years. Chris was a founder of CSTV, which ultimately CBS bought. And I got to know Chris very well, so I'll be very comfortable working with him. In terms of the negotiation, I don't want to really speak to that, but I'm confident that the value of the Big East brand will be recognized, and ultimately that the negotiation will be successful.
Right there in the middle.
Hey, Tim Rowan, New York Times. So I guess you talk about how it's a national conference now. What are the challenges going to be for you to kind of unite that conference and going forward, how to build the brand of the Big East?
Well, first of all, thanks to the work of Dr. Williams and his presidents, it already is united. I've sensed a great commitment. As I said, I would not have taken this job if I didn't feel that this was a cohesive conference that was committed to each other. I think what I want to do is make sure that I'm a good communicator. I think I was hired in part to make sure that I was a good ambassador for the conference, that I got the word out, but that I visited schools, that I kept in touch. I think it's very, very important to make everyone feel welcome, to understand everyone's concerns. You've got a disparate group of schools, but they share a common vision and goal. They want to make this work. I think we have a football conference that's going to be extremely successful. We already have the most successful basketball conference in the country, and I think it's a question of there already is stability, and it's my job to guide them to obviously, an even brighter future.
Back to Brendan in the middle.
This question is for Dr. Williams. Was there any concern with making the hire this close to the September 1st negotiation deadline, and did maybe Mike's background in TV sort of alleviate any of those concerns?
Well, we don't have any concern about that. We have a talented person who is well-skilled in negotiations, knows the landscape, knows the people, and so our feeling was he is well prepared to take on the challenges that are going to develop in the immediate future in terms of moving the Big East forward.